Storm, earth, and fire, heed my call.
What's up everyone, it's Waves and today I have a new video for you guys. I just want to give you guys a quick overview over the current state of Enhancement Shaman on the Dragonflight beta. Just, as I said, short video, just talking about potential builds we have, the talent trees we have, the tier set and potential ideas how to improve the spec as of right now. So if we just tab in game here, we can open up the talent tree here on the beta. I'm mainly gonna focus on the enhanced tree, obviously, since most of the shaman skill tree stuff is situational. I would say when it comes to damage dealing, of course, important things that we want to get are Flurry, we want to get Nature's Fury, and we want to get improved Lightning Bolt. Those are like the 3 points damage-wise that I would say we should probably get. And the rest is like, you know, situational, depending on what boss you're killing in a raid, what comp you're fighting in PvP, what dungeon you're playing in M+, different things. So, most important damage things, Flurry, Nature's Fury, and improved Lightning Bolt. Alright, now to the important part though. So, right now we have the enhancement skill tree, and right off the bat, this is what I would say my favorite AoE spec at the moment. It has very good damage potential. I've played it in dungeons on the beta. I've played it on training dummies and it works out really well. I will explain to you why, and I will talk about the other things that we didn't pick as well and tell you why I didn't pick it. So pretty much just giving you a quick overview, and after that we're going to talk about a single target build as well. So right off the bat, Storm Strike, no brainer. We have to take it, signature ability, that's an insta pick. Wind Fury weapon, very nice, as always for our main hand. Wind Fury, just basic as it is on live right now. We have Lava Lash here. We tried a version of this build a couple of times on the beta, and which, by the way, if you want to see me play these builds like in a dungeon or test them on dummies, so you see the rotation and kind of like how to play the build, check out my stream on twitch.tv/waveswow, and I'm live pretty much every day, not exactly every day, but almost every day, so just leave a follow, then you see when I'm live, and then you can see me actually play these builds. So we actually opted into going Lava Lash now and 1 point into Molten Assault. It's pretty much just for passive damage coming in, because there will be a little bit of downtime sometimes in the build, and if you then use that downtime for a Lava Lash to spread your flame shocks, you will have those flame shocks ticking in the background to just generate a lot of damage actually over let's just say like a 5-minute fight. It's actually gonna be like 3.5 to 5% of your damage just from the flame shock ticking alone. So it is gonna be more worthwhile than, for example, taking these 2 points out, putting 1 into Ice Strike, and let's just say 1 into Storm Blast. Because even though Ice Strike does cleave now with Crash, that was changed now on the beta in Dragonflight, and it is a main hand attack, so it would trigger Wind Fury. It's still less damage. You wouldn't press it as often, so and Storm Blast is kind of underwhelming, but we're gonna get to that in a second. So we pick Wind Fury here, we pick Lava Lash here, 1 Molten Assault. Of course we take double improved Maelstrom weapon, really good. Pretty much always want to have that talent. And since we, at least I want to go into a more like physical direction of the build, we go Forceful Winds. Used to be a really good talent when we were still playing Doom Winds in Shadowlands. Then we go down for Unruly Winds. Unruly Winds changed on the beta compared to Shadowlands. On Shadowlands it was like, I think highest conduit, like around 40%, 30 something or 40% chance to trigger a third attack. Now it's 100%, so it's a really strong talent now. Definitely if you want to play a physical build, I think this is a must-have. Down here we take Raging Maelstrom, so we can get to 10 stacks. That's a talent now, so that we definitely want to have. We do play Doom Winds. It's not exactly the same as it was on Shadowlands. On Shadowlands, the legendary, of course, when you dropped Wind Fury Totem, you got Doom Winds. Now it's a talent. It does impact damage, which it didn't do before. And then it increases your chance to activate Wind Fury by 200% and increases damage dealt by Wind Fury weapon by 25% for 8 seconds. 8 seconds compared to 10 does feel pretty bad, I gotta be real. 12 seconds from the legendary was definitely way better. But yeah, with the chance to activate Wind Fury increased by 200%, so your chance of activating Wind Fury, you know, like increasing that by itself twice, you know. You can almost get to 100%, so it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. And yeah, 8 seconds of course doesn't feel that good, but now with working Unruly Winds, because Unruly Winds didn't work at all on the beta for a while. Now that it works, it's actually really good and makes for like really strong Doom Winds windows. Sundering, actually, I don't know if they changed the tuning or anything, but it actually does quite a bit of damage now. It's a main hand attack now as well, so it can proc Wind Fury, which is really good for Doom Winds windows, especially in dungeons when you have like a lot of targets, because it is uncapped, it is a knockback, so overall just a great ability in my opinion. Overflowing Maelstrom, so you can now use up to 10 Maelstrom weapon stacks instead of 5 within one spell. We weren't sure about this in the beginning. We played a couple of builds without overflowing, which felt very fluid, because with overflowing you do run into the issues sometimes that you run dry of Maelstrom weapon stacks. So it's important that if you play overflowing that you have a build that produces a lot of Maelstrom weapon stacks, to where you don't just end up sitting below 5 stacks and you don't have anything to cast basically. Wind Fury Totem, always a very good totem to have, of course. The more melees you have in a group or in the raid, the better it is. Now with the changes to Wind Fury Totem that will be applied to the beta probably tomorrow, it also has a chance to trigger from offhand attacks, and yeah, that's gotta be really strong. You can read up the changes on the patch notes. New Wind Fury Totem legit will be insane in my opinion, will be really good. By the way, we don't take Feral Lunge here because we just want to go for damage. We can't take the movement speed here. We don't take Ice Strike for reasons I already explained. You can take it though, it's not going to be the biggest difference. I think it is pretty good for single target. For example, when you're playing a dungeon and you want to avoid downtime, then Ice Strike definitely not that bad to take. Hailstorm, right now it doesn't work that if you play Overflowing and you spend 10 stacks on, for example, a Chain Lightning, and you get the Hailstorm buff, that it uses like all the 10 stacks. So it just uses 5. If that would work with 10, I think that Hailstorm could have potential to be played. Couldn't test that as of right now. Fire Nova seems a little bit underwhelming at the moment to me from my testing, but maybe there's a potential we will play it. Hot Hand, I don't even want to talk about it. Literally worst talent in the whole game. Get rid of it, remove it from the game, I don't care. Okay, to be fair, there is a chance that we can play Hot Hand again. God forbid we have to. It's kind of weird that you have to like take either Hailstorm or Fire Nova just to reach Hot Hand. To reach Hot Hand, which makes it kind of weird and reduces the chance that we will actually have to play it, in my opinion. So that is a positive, I would say. Swirling Maelstrom for AoE builds, I don't think it's bad. But I feel like you're constantly like overflowing with Maelstrom stacks anyways, so Swirling Maelstrom not exactly that good. But if you end up playing like Hailstorm or Fire Nova for AoE, then I could see Swirling Maelstrom being picked here. But yeah, this is already like a very well working AoE spec without Hailstorm or Fire Nova, so we will have to see about that. Storm's Wrath, increase the chance for Mastery Enhanced Elements to trigger Wind Fury and Stormbringer by 100%. This is really good in my opinion. Makes playing Haste Mastery really good, which is what we're doing currently on the beta. We also tried Crit. Crit kind of down bad, doesn't really work. Verse seems not that good as well, so Mastery and Haste seems to be the play right now. We don't really have points for Refreshing Waters and Ancestral Wolf Affinity. Those are pretty much like PvP choices, I would say. Crash Lightning with now buffed damage, really good. Again, it buffs your Storm Strikes, also really good. It's uncapped, it's a main hand attack. It has more than melee range actually. I know it says melee range, but in reality it has more range than melee range, which is also really good. Yeah, pretty much just an all-around very good talent. That's why we picked that. Storm Flurry, it used to be bugged a while on beta, where instead of a 25% chance to trigger an additional Storm Strike for 40% of the damage, it was set to a 2% chance for a Storm Strike with 1000 increased damage, 1000% increased damage. So that was pretty cool, but it was dog shit to play, obviously. Going from a 5% Hot Hand chance to a 2% Storm Flurry chance for insane damage, of course it would have been a bad idea. We don't take PLA, which is now called Ashen Catalyst, because we're not playing Hot Hand. We're not playing Lashing Flames because we're not playing Hot Hand. Elemental Blast, very strong actually for single target. I'm not a big fan of it in AoE. For single target it's really good though, especially because if you take Lava Burst in the Shaman overall tree, then you get a second stack of Ele Blast, which is actually very good. I like it in single target. Storm Blast, kinda underwhelming. I know it sounds good. That Stormbringer now also causes your next Storm Strike to deal 25% additional damage as nature damage. Sounds good, but not all of your Storm Strikes are Stormbringer Storm Strikes, and 25% turns out to be a little bit underwhelming. Maybe if they tune it a bit different, then maybe it's good, but for now I wouldn't take it. Elemental Weapons, increasing all Fire, Frost, and Nature damage dealt by 10%. Guaranteed pick, it's awesome. Gathering Storms, each target hit by Crash Lightning increase the damage of your next Storm Strike by 15%, up to a maximum of 10 stacks. That is really, really good for AoE. Even in single target, I don't think it's bad, because it just straight up buffs your Storm Strike by 15%, because you will crash in single target. For AoE, definitely a must-have though. Crashing Storms. Banger. Absolute banger. This is such a good talent, I swear. The fact that they made Chain Lightning hit 5 targets now instead of 2 is absolutely insane. Crash Lightning also doing 40% more damage, insane. This for AoE, you need to have this, like guaranteed this is a pick that you need to have. Literally, if you're in AoE, your Chain Lightning will be your top damage by quite a bit, followed by Crash Lightning. Crash Lightning, of course, doing even more if you play your Doomwind's windows correct. But Chain Lightning, definitely the most banging spell in AoE right now, so definitely worth picking up. Then we have the bottom rows here. I decided to go with a Wolves and Ascendants AoE build. You can go Primordial Wave, go down to Splintered Elements, and then pair it with, for example, with Wolves. That can work. It's an AoE build that works. It's consistent. It's not relying on a lot of RNG, but I'm not picking it right now, even though it's consistent, because of 2 reasons. A, I don't enjoy the playstyle that much, and B, even with low rolling DRE, RNG, which I'm going to talk about in a second, even if you low roll, I happen to do more damage than properly focusing on playing Primordial Wave correctly and having consistent damage, but I'm still not reaching the numbers as with this, even if I'm low rolling. Alright, then pretty much most of the builds. Of course, you could go Primordial Wave, Splintered Elements, and then like Ascendants as well, but it kind of destroys the purpose of it in my opinion. So with most builds, you're going to play Wolves, which is what we are doing here. We take typical Wolves talent, then we go Wolf Bones, which now is a legendary in Shadowlands, but it's going to be a talent in Dragonflight. We take 2 of this, so we get the Wolf cooldown reduced. That's very important. And then very, very good, Legacy of the Frost Witch. Not exactly how it is on live right now. It's a legendary in Shadowlands. Now we have it as a talent. Consuming 10 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon will reset the cooldown of Storm Strike and increases the chance of your physical abilities by 25% for 5 seconds. This is absolutely insane. If you only put 1 point, it's 5% for 5 seconds, so that seems pretty down bad. But 2 points for 25% physical damage increase for 5 seconds, that is really, really, really good. Also, resetting the cooldown of your Storm Strike, insane, because we do play DRE here in most cases. There may be potentially a couple of fights in the raid, depending on fight length and where you Bloodlust and stuff like that, where you may want to play Ascendants. But for the most part, in my opinion at least, you will play DRE, which is pretty much the old Smoldering Heart legendary from Legion, if you remember that, where I think a Storm Strike had like... oh no, actually you had like a 0.1% chance to trigger an Ascendance for 10 seconds. I think for every Maelstrom spent, because we didn't have Maelstrom weapon stacks, but we had Maelstrom like 1 to, I think 100 or 150 or something. That I liked more. Now it's an 8% chance per Storm Strike to activate Ascendance for 6 seconds. 6 seconds feels really low, but 8% chance is pretty high. So whatever makes you cast more Storm Strikes is pretty much good, because you generate more chances to proc DRE. It can proc off of each other. So when you're in Ascendance and you're Wind Striking, you can also proc another Ascendance within your Ascendance, which is A, good because you get a longer Ascendance, obviously. Second of all, it's going to be good because Ascendance, since Shadowlands, does an initial AoE damage, like an outburst of damage around you, which actually does quite a lot of damage, especially in AoE. So DRE, actually a very good talent. Then you have static accumulation, so that while you're in Ascendance, you generate 2 Maelstrom weapon stacks every 1 second, which is A, very good by itself, and B, it gets even better if we take Thorim's Invocation, because Thorim's Invocation does, if you're in Ascendance and you Wind Strike, and you have 5 Maelstrom weapon stacks, or 10 if you play Overflowing, it automatically discharges a Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning. Oh, actually it doesn't do 10, I'm sorry. It only does 5, up to 5 as it says. It discharges a Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning at your enemy, whichever you most recently used. That's very good, because it used to be only Lightning Bolt. Now they changed it to being Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt, which means that in AoE, you can also make use of Ascendance, because Ascendance felt a little bit weird in AoE if it only casted a Lightning Bolt. But now you just use a Chain Lightning before, and then it just casts automatic Chain Lightnings. Really good for AoE, really good for single target. Nice talent. Of course you have RNG bound to this. Sure, there's gonna be a DPS variance, which is actually pretty high depending on how many procs you get. But it is what it is, I guess, you know. And then we have these two. Alpha Wolf, we know it from Legion as well. You had to use your Wolves and then Chain Lightning afterwards to activate your Wolves Cleaving. Now they changed it to where you can crash or chain, which is really good, so you don't have to disrupt your rotation in AoE to make your wolves, after summoning them, use Spirit Bomb. And Spirit Bomb is an uncapped AoE, which is actually pretty fucking insane. Like in some dungeons, I didn't have any cooldowns up. Like I didn't get a DRE proc, I didn't have my trinket, I didn't have anything, right? I only used my wolves and made them cleave. And I had so many targets, and because it's uncapped, that I was literally doing over 100k DPS just by spirit bombing a lot of targets. And of course number tuning hasn't happened, so we don't really care too much about the numbers, more about the how fluid the gameplay is, how fun it is. But honestly, Spirit Bomb or Alpha Wolf feels really, really good. And with this build, dungeons feel amazing. As I said, number tuning, this and that, you know, but I was top DPSing literally almost every single dungeon. I think 1 or 2 I didn't, but in most of them I was. It feels fluid. You always have stacks. You always have something to press. It doesn't matter if you're in melee range or not. With Chain Lightning and Lightning Bolt, even being away from targets for a little bit feels great to play. You pretty much have wolves all the time. You can spam Storm Strikes, which feels good. You have Doomwind's windows, which feels good. You have the DRE procs in there, which feel amazing. And it's just all around. I feel like they kind of took the best and most enjoyable parts for me personally, right? This is an opinion piece, right? They took the best parts of Legion Enhance, BFA Enhance, and Shadowlands Enhance and put them into a talent tree where you can make a build where you have pretty much like all the good things, in my opinion, right? Like you have the Storm Strike spamming stuff from BFA. You have the DRE, which in my opinion, in my mind, is still Smoldering Heart from Legion. So from Legion and the Storm Strike spamming from Legion. You then have the Doomwinds from Season 1 and 2 of Shadowlands. Of course, it's not exactly the same Doomwinds, but you know, it's still fun. And then you have like the wolves kind of thing with wolf bones from like the later seasons of Shadowlands, that you have your wolves all the time. But you're playing like the physical wolves now. By the way, very good change. Usually you would play Alley Spirits now on Shadowlands, right? Because normal wolves are kind of useless. But now they made it to where if you don't have Alley Spirits and you just summon regular wolves, they will have a physical damage increase. Because they changed Alley Spirits to where if you get a Fire Wolf, it's just flat 15% fire damage, Frost 15% fire damage, Frost damage, sorry, and Lightning is lightning damage, right? Just makes sense. And before it would be that normal wolves without Alley Spirits didn't do anything, but now they give you physical damage buff, which is really, really good. So you can pair like, you know, you can get your wolves out for a physical damage buff, then you can spend Maelstrom to get a 25% physical damage buff, then you can go into a Doomwind's window, and then if you then proc a DRE on top of that, you see how it works together, right? And then all of that makes you generate so many Maelstrom weapon stacks as well. Like you have Thorim's Invocation and Static Accumulation, which works. It just flows together. It works, it makes sense, and it feels good to play. That's my opinion at least, right? And yeah, that is pretty much the AoE build that I'm playing right now. As I said, you can also like take these 2 points out, put one into Ice Strike, and for example, put one into Stormblast. That would work as well. There's different combinations, of course. Like I want to encourage you guys to, if you have beta, hop on the beta. If you don't have beta, wait for the pre-patch and just test things, right? Like there's so many combinations that we can do. And now I want to show you guys like a very good single target build that we've seen, which actually you just take out Alpha Wolf and put it into Alley Blast. And with this, you already have a really good single target build. And since you have Lava Burst, you're gonna have 2 stacks of Alley Blast, which makes it even better. This works really, really well in single target. Arguably, again, you can take out this and this, put it into Ice Strike and Storm Blast. May even be a little bit better for single target than it is for AoE. But yeah, works the same way. Feels good to play. Of course, there can be downtime sometimes here and there, depending on your haste level, depending on your procs. It is an RNG spec. You do have quite a lot of RNG with DRE, but at least, okay, and this is the difference, because probably some of you guys will be like, yo, Waves, why are you so toxic towards Hot Hand? Why do you hate that shit so much, but you're fine with DRE? And don't get me wrong, it's both bad RNG, right? Like it's both pretty high RNG, and it's gonna have a big impact on your damage, so the DPS variance of a low roll and a high roll is gonna be very big. But with Hot Hand, literally, because it's of auto attacks only, the only thing you could do to impact it, skill-wise, is stand in melee range. You could have uptime on a target. That's the only thing you could do. So there's pretty much no skill attached to it. With DRE, it's still RNG, but you can alter your gameplay, and you can decide when or when not to use a lot of Storm Strikes to produce chances to proc DRE, right? And that is already something that you can do actively to impact your chance to get a DRE proc, which makes it better for me. And yeah, again, this is very fun in single target, very fun in AoE. Can definitely recommend playing that. Of course, there's other single target builds as well. We've noticed that Alley Spirits doesn't really seem that strong. Hot Hand build, we tried one as well. It didn't really seem that strong. With Splintered Elements, I don't really see it in single target. Maybe there's like a build that you can make, but for now, for me, those are like the 2 builds that I'm playing, and that makes sense. They do a lot of damage. Honestly, with this, by the way, if you take this out again, with this, on like a 5-minute dummy pull, we could reach up to like 130k DPS. Sustain. I know number tuning hasn't been done, just to give you like an idea, you know, of what it's doing at the moment. So yeah, that is a very good build right now, also with Alley Blast for single target, as I said. And now, since we talked about this, I just want to go over the tier set a little bit for just a few minutes. If you haven't seen the tier sets, let me just close that. And I will bring up the tier set for a second that we have right now. So this is the current tier set that we have for enhancement. 2 set. Storm Strike increases the damage of your next Lava Lash by 10% and causes it to generate 1 additional stack of Maelstrom Weapon. In my opinion, absolutely fucking dog shit. Doesn't even make sense. Your Storm Strike increases the damage of your Lava Lash. You literally rarely ever press Lava Lash at all. There are situations where the minutes will pass without you pressing Lava Lash, and then buffing that damage by 10%. You know how. Wait, let me just show you something. All right. I'm gonna show you why this is not good. All right. So 10%, right? You do see that it doesn't make sense, right? Like you do see that it just, you know, all right, and then it causes you to generate an additional stack of Maelstrom Weapon. All right, I could see that, you know, but since we're not using the ability, we're also not benefiting of that, so it's kind of useless, I would say. And then the 4th set, consuming Maelstrom Weapon stacks reduces the cooldown of Storm Strike, Lava Lash, Crash Lightning, Flame Shock, or Frost Shock by 0.5 seconds per stack, chosen randomly. First of all, chosen randomly, terrible for a tier set in my opinion. 0.5 seconds not gonna have an impact on Frost Shock because you're not even gonna use it in single target. It may have an impact if Hailstorm scales properly with Overflowing and you actually happen to play that in AoE, then I guess I could see it. Flame Shock, kinda useless. Crash Lightning, you're reducing the cooldown with Chain Lightning anyways, so I don't really see that being really good. Lava Lash, again, we don't use it. Storm Strike, sure, okay, but then you get a Stormbringer and then you already lost value of the 4th set. Like, I don't know, this pushes us kinda into like playing hot hand again, which A, Y, B, I don't want to, C, just no, you know, like, I don't know, like, it seems so weird to me that all of these other classes are just getting like things, like 2-set and 4-set that work together, and just give them like flat increases to something, like a little bit of crit, a little bit of haste, a little bit of damage, you know, something, and not 10% to an ability that we don't use. Because the only build that we would use it with doesn't make sense to pick in the talent tree in the first place, you know? At least that's how it seems to me. I don't know. And then this, literally in the current state, with playing the builds that I would like to play, and that makes sense to play from the talent tree, literally chosen randomly, dog shit. Frost Shock doesn't make sense. Flame Shock, no impact. Crash Lightning, don't care. Maybe a little bit. Lava Lash, useless. And Storm Strike, in some situations where you don't get a Stormbringer proc, it could be useful. So, you know, like, no. Let's just say no, okay? But because we don't only want to perma complain, right? Because it's gonna be easier to also give feedback and give the devs ideas of what we, you know, could do. I sat down with my stream, with the people in my stream, and we thought about new tier sets that can give them ideas, you know. And if they don't implement it for season 1, you know, maybe it gives them an idea to at least change the one for season 1. Or they take the idea for season 2, 3, 4, you know, we don't know. But because we wanted to give them a little bit of help, we came up with these. All right, I'm just gonna read them to you, and then in the comments you can tell me your thoughts about them. We have a 2-set. Casting Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Healing Surge, or Chain Heal increases your haste by 10% for 5 seconds. Of course, these numbers are up for tuning. All right, that's Blizzard stuff to do. All right, we're just giving them ideas. Maybe 10% is too high. Maybe 5 seconds is too long, because you're using Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning quite often. You know, you could change these values. Just an idea. And then the 4-set is consuming Maelstrom weapon stacks increases the damage of your next Storm Strike, Lava Lash, Crash Lightning, Frost Shock, or Fire Nova by 2% per Maelstrom weapon stack spent. So if you play Overflowing, you spend 10 stacks on a Chain Lightning or a Lightning Bolt, your next ability, one ability, is buffed by 20%. You can choose which one you want it to be. 20%, that's not broken, it's a good bonus in my opinion. Solid set bonuses. The next one. Each spell you use increases the duration of any Spirit Wolves or Raptors if glyphed of the same element that you currently have active by 0.5 seconds. What does that mean? If you have no elemental spirits, so you just use your wolves and it's physical wolves, and you use a Storm Strike, right, which is a physical spell, it's the same element of the wolves that are out, then that Storm Strike used will prolong the duration of those two wolves by 0.5 seconds. Alright. 4-set. After using 10 spells of the same element as a currently active Spirit Wolf. So if you, within the duration of that one wolf, use 10 of the same, like 10 spells of the same element of that wolf, you gain 10% haste for 8 seconds. I think that's a pretty cool interaction because it makes you think about what spells you use a little bit more. Because, for example, if you would play with elemental spirits, right? Then you would be like, oh, I just rolled a Fire Wolf. I want this to be out for longer, you know, to buff my fire damage. So Hot Hand would be good, so I can use more Lava Lashes. And PLA, or whatever it's called nowadays, would be good because I can use more Lava Lashes. Fire Nova will extend it. You know, you have to think about what spells you want to use to prolong the wolves. And then we have the same 2-set again with the duration as we had it here. But then the 4-set would be here that Spirit Wolves let out a howl. Oh, I still have the spelling mistake in here. I'm sorry. Spirit Wolves let out a howl every 5 seconds, dealing X damage, whatever Blizzard decides to pick, split between all enemies within 10 yards. The split between part makes it to where it's good for single target and it's good for AoE. And every 5 seconds they just howl and do AoE or single target damage. They just do damage. So it makes sense to like prolong the wolves as long as possible, because the longer they are out, the more times they will howl and the more damage they will do. Seems like a good set bonus to me. And then the last one would be the 2-set. You have a 12% chance when generating a Maelstrom weapon stack to electrocute all enemies within 10 yards for X nature damage. Again, split between all enemies, so it's good for single target and AoE. And by the way, also for PvP. Keep that in mind because the set bonuses should also work for PvP. And then every time you spend Maelstrom weapon stacks, you gain a 1% increase to your highest secondary stat per Maelstrom weapon stack spent for 8 seconds. Or every 10th Maelstrom weapon stack you spend increases your highest secondary stat by 5% for 8 seconds. And we made a forum post actually and suggested these. And I think in the forum post actually we took this one as a suggestion. And I don't know. I think those are 4 great ideas. You can, in the comments again, let me know your thoughts about it. If you would change anything, maybe you have ideas for new tier sets. That would be interesting as well. And I have the links to my forum posts, by the way, in the video description. So if you're interested to read it, click on the link in the video description. And if you like my idea, make sure to upvote the post so that Blizzard sees it and, you know, it gets attention. Also, feel free to post in the forum your ideas, feedback, give them anything, even if they don't end up changing anything. The only thing we can do is help them, you know, give them ideas. They are only human as well. I don't know if they have as much experience playing Enhance as we do, so just help them, give them ideas, and hopefully we can get a better tier set than what we have right now, because that is down astronomically. It's dog shit, yes. So hopefully they change it, hopefully they fix it. That's my overview for the Enhancement Shaman on the beta. I can definitely recommend playing it. If you thought about playing Enhance and Dragonflight, thumbs up from me from a gameplay POV. I don't know how number tuning is gonna turn out, if we're gonna do a lot of damage or not. You're definitely gonna have fun playing the builds, and the spec in general. Yeah, at least I will, so I can recommend it. Check out my Twitch, again, twitch.tv/waveswow. Sub to the YouTube, sub to the stream. I don't know. Have a good day, take care, stay healthy, and have fun playing the game. Peace.